Hi guys, it's a story time. I know I haven't done a story time video in ages, so I wanted to do one today, and I was a little hesitant about this one because I don't know, I felt weird about it for many reasons, but it is time and I will share with you guys my story about my roommate from hell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But anyway, let me tell you this story. Woo! I don't know if this is gonna be a short video, guys, because it's a lot, but let's start, right? So I live in Florida and I live now in a small town, but before I moved here I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, and I don't even know how to start this. So I moved to Jacksonville. I didn't know anybody. I went there to go to school, to go to university, and before moving there I knew a Brazilian girl, and she was like, oh, I know this girl, she's also Brazilian and she's looking for a roommate. And I was like, oh, it's perfect because I'm going to move there in a couple of weeks and I need a roommate. I need to find a place to live. So looking at the map where my university was, I tried to find like an apartment, something like that, close to the school, so it would be like a short drive to school. So I found this apartment and contacted this Brazilian girl through this other friend of mine. And she's like, yeah, you know, I recently moved here from Brazil, and yes, I'm looking for a roommate. So we start talking, whatever. We found an apartment, and when we went to sign the contract, she told me like, oh, is that okay if we just put under your name, because, you know, I just moved to the US and my employer just applied for my social security number. And I was like, oh, it's okay, you know, I have a social security number, I have, you know, all my documents. I was, at the time I was here under a student visa and I had everything good, you know, so I was like, oh yeah, that's okay, you know, we wait to, you know, I have no problem, you know, as long as you're still financially sharing this with me. So yeah, I put just my name on the contract. So we went there, signed the contract, and I put everything under my name. The electricity bill is everything under my name because of the social security number. And guys, just one quick thing. I was so naive when I first moved here to the US, and I know I'm a totally different person now, and thankfully for that. But yeah, so I didn't even think about it, like, because when I received my social security number, also I was working in Colorado. I was there in a work program, just like an exchange student program, and I was there under a student visa, and my employer at the time applied for my social security number and I received it there in Colorado. And so when she told me that her employer applied and she was going to get it, I'm like, okay, it sounds like what happened to me. That's how I got mine. So we start living together, and she's like, oh, you know, maybe we should talk about rules. And I was like, yeah, perfect, sounds good. And she was like, well, are you okay with, can we bring boyfriends here and things like that? And I was like, yeah, do whatever you want. I mean, I was at the time 20 something, like my low 20s, and she was, I think, 30 or something like that. So she's like, can I bring a boyfriend here? I was like, yeah, I mean, as long as you're, you know, in your room and not doing anything in the living room or something that I'm gonna see or whatever, you know, or in my bed or something, so whatever. So she was like, oh, okay. At the time, I didn't have a boyfriend, so I was just like, whatever. Then, oh my gosh, so she was dating this guy, but she would actually never bring him to our apartment. She would go to his house, and sometimes she would spend the night there and stuff, so. And also, she didn't speak English really well. Her English was very limited. She just knew like, hi, how are you, things like that, but she could not go like to the DMV and, you know, talk to somebody, and, you know, but she did have a driver's license when I met her. She already had an American, Florida driver's license. So somebody helped her went as a translator or something. But everywhere we would go, you know, I had to translate everything for her. If we would go to a restaurant, I had to order for her because she could not have a conversation with the waitress. So before moving to Jacksonville, I used to live in Daytona Beach, and I had some friends there, and one afternoon I had to go there. I don't know for what I had to go there, but I was like, hey, you want to go to Daytona this afternoon, and then we'll be back in, you know, a few hours, whatever. She was like, oh yes, okay. I was there in Daytona, did what I had to do, whatever. Then I talked to one of my friends who's also Brazilian, and he's married to an American woman here in the US, and I was like, hey, I'm in town, but I'm gonna be leaving in an hour or something. He's like, oh, okay, you know, stop by, you know, and this guy has 3 kids with this woman that I know too, and that I knew at the time. I haven't talked to them forever, but anyway, yeah. Oh, by the way, this was 2006, 2007. So I was like, okay, I'll stop by, you know, on our way back to Jacksonville. So we went there, and I, you know, introduced her, because I wanted her, since her English was not really good and I knew Brazilian friends, then I wanted to introduce her to people that also spoke the language Portuguese, you know, so she could, you know, actually have a conversation. So I'm like, oh, okay. Look at me being nice and everything with people. So I introduced her to him, and I was like, you know, he's married, but his kids are not here. He, you know, he has 3 kids, but he's not here, whatever. So he's like, oh, okay. So he went and ordered some food. We ate food, and I was like, okay, well, we have to go or something. And then he's like, do you guys want to drink wine, you know, with our meals? I was like, no, I'm not gonna drink wine because I'm driving. But you know, I told her, if you want to have wine, and she's like, oh, of course. She had half of a glass, and she's like, like, start acting really weird. And I'm like, and I went out with her before drinking, and she was drinking like vodka, and it was not being all like that. And then with half a glass of wine, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Then the guys, then I noticed they start flirting and stuff like that. And then I'm like, finished eating. I was like, okay, we're gonna go or something. He's like, oh, I want to show you something here. Like, he said to her, I'm gonna show you something here in the room, whatever. So they go in the room, close the door, and I start texting another friend of mine. Then I'm noticing like the time is passing and stuff like that. Almost an hour passed, and then I'm like, hello, you know, like, so, can you hear me? Like, we have to go. Then they come, and she's like, oh, like, her hair is like all over the place, and she's like, oh my gosh, we gotta go, start pulling me. I'm like, oh, now you wanna go? Like, yeah, I've been trying to go forever. So we're like, okay, bye. So we get to the car, and she's like, oh my god, he abused me. And I was like, what do you mean he abused you? Like, against your will? Or, oh, no. Like, she was being all victim and stuff. I was like, do we need to report anything? Like, what do you mean he abused you? Oh no, he started kissing me and this and that. And I'm like, he's married to somebody I know, and what the hell? Like, you knew that. Like, before I brought her to meet this friend, I told her that he's married. So she's like, oh no, I don't know, I'm drunk. I'm like, no, you're not. You had half a glass of wine, you're not drunk. So anyway, and I got really upset. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not gonna introduce anybody to this woman anymore, because she was like, you know, being a home wrecker or something. So I'm like, no. So we went back to the apartment in Jacksonville, and the vibe was really weird between me and her, you know, because I'm like, I don't care who you date, don't date people that are already committed, especially people that I know, you know, like, what the hell? And to the guy too, I was not just mad at her, I was mad at him too. I'm like, wow, like, just wow. So anyway, then, you know, a few days passed, and, you know, I was really busy in school. There was one semester I was taking like 9 classes. And so anyway, I'm going to school and stuff. One day I get home from school, and he's there. And I'm like, okay. Then I got really mad, and, you know, I waited for him. I didn't want to be like, make a scene in front of him, whatever, which I should. Like I said, I was so naive, I should have. But anyway, he left, and I talked to her. I was like, what the F? You know, like, you had a drunk moment. I let it pass that. Now you're bringing a married guy to my apartment? And she's like, well, you said we could bring boyfriends. He's not your boyfriend, okay? He's married. I know his wife. And no, don't come be like, oh, it's my boyfriend. No, okay? freaking Brazilians. I mean, seriously, and I know I'm Brazilian, but what the hell? So more few days passed, and I noticed she would disappeared, and then I saw her Facebook, and she was like in Disney World in Orlando with him. And then I'm like, oh my god, you know, and she was like, oh, a dream come true, I finally visit Disney. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, we had to wait for a lover to take you to Disney, seriously? I was livid. I was like, so she came back, and I was like, look, he's not coming here, you know, I'm not. Oh, and she told me when she came back, and she's like, well, he gives me money every week, he deposits $200 in my account every Monday. And I was like, oh, so you were a hooker. So he's paying you weekly and for your company. And I know they were going to motels and stuff like that, because I told them they could not come to the apartment because I would not put up with that. You know, you're not gonna he's not gonna come here in my apartment and commit adultery, so no. Then she started getting really pissed, you know. She was like, oh no, you know, you said in the beginning that we could bring boyfriends. I'm like, stop saying boyfriends. He's not boyfriend. He's not your boyfriend, okay? Let's ask his wife if she thinks that he's your boyfriend. Obviously, this guy's wife didn't know anything about that. So, and you know, I hate this situation that you're like, should I tell her? It happened in the past that I told this woman that the guy was cheating on her, you know, this other person. And the woman went to talk to the guy, and the guy, no honey, I would never do that. And then the person is against me. So I'm really careful about this. Like, I don't want that to happen again. This woman was so nice. Like, I was not like besties with her or anything, but she was a nice woman, and I was really tempted to call her and be like, tell your husband to get out of my apartment and effing my roommate. Really, I don't care who he sleeps with, I don't care who she sleeps with, not in my apartment. Because I don't want to know this is happening here and I'm not doing anything about it, because to me it's wrong. So anyway, she started getting really all like, I do what I want. Okay, do what you want, but not here. This apartment is still under my name, and the electricity bill is under my name. Everything is under my name. The cable, everything. And then she's like, okay, then I'm gonna move. I'm like, okay, that's good, great idea. He's gonna pay rent for you somewhere else. So she's like, yeah, I'm gonna move, like, and then she told me she was going to move out in 4 days or something. So I was like, fine. So every day I would come back from school and I see things are missing. Not my personal things like in my room, but in the kitchen, things I bought, like plates and like stupid things, you know, like kitchen utensils that were missing. And then I went to her room and saw that she was moving everything else. There was just a bed there, but everything, all the other furniture were gone already, and some things in the kitchen missing. And I'm like, I'm gonna change the locks, and she's not gonna come in when I'm not here. She can come in when I'm here, so I can see if she's taking things that don't belong to her. So I had my locks changed. One day I was in school in class, and I received a phone call. I didn't pick up, I was in class. So when I got off class, there was a voicemail, and I didn't recognize the number, and I'm like listening, and it was one of her friends that I met once, and it was a girl, and she was also from Brazil, and she left a voicemail like kind of bashing me about changing the locks. And then I'm like, what you have to do with this, you know? So she was like, oh, you Barbara, who's always trying to portray that you were a great girl, that you go to a university here. First of all, I never said that, but just because they didn't go to the university. Oh, this is another thing too that I found out. They didn't have documents. So yes, she lied to me about the Social Security. She was not waiting for her because she was here illegally. So I got really pissed about that too. I'm sorry, I'm screaming. But I got really pissed about it because I was like, first of all, you lie to me, then I introduce you to this guy, you have sex with him, and I know his wife. No. Then her friend which was another, you know, like her, she's like, oh, you change the locks. You who tries to portray to be such a classy girl, blah, blah, blah. Bitch, I'm classy, okay? I was so mad. So then I called this girl back because I'm like, you're not gonna come and leave my voice. Oh, I got like, no. So I called her, she didn't pick up, and I left this huge voicemail, even like 3 times longer than the one she left me. And I was like, first of all, you don't know the story. Did you know she was, you know, her and this guy committing adultery in my apartment, you know, and she told me she was legal and she lied to me, blah, blah, blah. Then don't get involved or you're also gonna get into this. And I knew this other girl was in the same situation, not legal, whatever. So the girl, she had one more thing to pick up at the apartment, and she called me one day and she was all like all aggressive and all attacking me or something. She's like, I'm going there. And I'm like, you're more than welcome to come here. You have things in the apartment, but the reason why I changed the locks is because you just coming and taking other things that don't belong to you. Okay, I have no problem telling her that. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna come tonight. I'm gonna be there at 7 o'clock. And if you don't open the door, I'm gonna come with the police. Oh, great. I have a lot of things to tell the police about you. So yeah, come with the police. Obviously she came in, she was not with the police. And you know, I didn't have anything to worry about because didn't do anything wrong. I was here legally and I didn't have any problems. So I'm like, yeah, just come, whatever. She came, I opened the door, she's like, stormed inside, got her stuff and left. Then 2 days later, the guy calls me, her lover. Hey Barbara, well, I wanna ask you to give her the deposit money back. Okay. First of all, we had an agreement when we moved in here that whoever, which I forgot to tell you this in the beginning, but whoever breaks the lease doesn't get the deposit. I don't have the deposit money because I will get the deposit back after a year I'm living there. So I'm gonna give her money now that I don't have back. And second of all, and this is another thing, like this girl was such a coward, like she could not solve the things with me. You know, she had to have her friend calling me and now the lover. So the guy was like, well, you should not be doing this, Barbara. It's really wrong. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Yeah, because I'm married and I'm sleeping with other people. So I'm wrong. Yes. So I'm like, first of all, you give her money every week. So I don't know why she's trying to get this deposit. And the deposit, guys, it was like $200. It was so cheap. Maybe it was $400. So it was $200 from each. So I was like, look, I know you give her money every week, so just give her money and stop, you know, bothering me. I was like, otherwise, if you call me again, the next phone call I'm gonna make is gonna be to your wife. You know, and I hate threatening people and stuff, but don't come bother me, you know? That bitch is out, don't come bother me. So he was like, oh, okay, Barb. Never call me again. Yeah. And she was also asking other people to call me. I was like, I have other things to worry about, okay? I'm going to school, I have papers to write. I cannot be worrying about this. This is stupid. And if I received one more phone call, I was like, let her know, because she would never call me herself. She would send people to call me. I'm like, next time she calls me, I'm gonna report her. Which I would not do that, but I want her to stop having these people calling me. And she was like, she was telling people these things, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna tell people you did this. I'm like, just create any stories you want, you know, I don't care, you know. Then that stopped because I threatened to report her as an illegal immigrant here, so she stopped. So I think there was one time that I went to a restaurant with some friends and I saw her there and she stormed out. I think she was like scared of me. Well, obviously she was scared if she would have people calling me instead of herself, but she just like, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna report you as long as you're out of my life, you know. So yeah, I never seen her again. I never seen the guy again, and they never bothered me again. So yeah, but it was a nightmare while it was happening. I was just like, I just don't have time for that. I just don't have time for that. So yeah guys, so this was my story. I had other details, but I try to make this quick. I'm watching the time there, and so let me know if you like videos like this of story times. I have a lot of stories, and I actually have one very spicy one, but I'm also hesitant to tell you, even more than this one. I'm hesitant to tell you because it happened on this town where I live now, and it's a small town, so maybe I should not talk about it because the people in the town will watch it and they'll be like, oh, I know who you're talking about, girl. So yes, let me know if you guys like videos like this, and I love chatting with you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon.